Welcome to JGTCR, I'm Cope, and today we are tuning the CHC Chevy Nova. Let's get into it. In factory trim, this vehicle is horrible to drive. It feels like a bad, untuned engine swap. You know, the ones that are a poor match for the chassis. The handling is wobbly-dobbly. It frequently interrupts our turning ability even when we have settled into turns. The power we have available to us is far too much for this vehicle to be able to use properly in its current state being untuned. The power delivery is also too aggressive. We find ourselves constantly battling to maintain traction, with the tail kicking out frequently. This, combined with poor handling, makes for an unpleasant drive feel. The brakes work okay, but the suspension setup is so loose it makes it a very sloppy affair. Let's collect our time. Seven minutes, 30.4 seconds. And now, the race tune. There was plenty to be done to get the CHC Chevy Nova to handle more appropriately when racing. And due to the lack of front aero, we had some work ahead of us to maintain traction at the front end to stop understeer. Fortunately for us, this Chevy Nova was receptive to our tune. Let's see how it performed on the Nürburgring. There is a world of difference after being modified and tuned. This CHC Chevy Nova can actually handle being driven hard and pushed through turns. We did have to go to some extremes to make it work, but it has paid off in the long run. The handling has been sacrificed somewhat so we can have better traction from the rear end. This means it can feel a bit understeerish at times if we don't balance the vehicle appropriately when entering corners. The steering works well when the front end is loaded up. A touch or a light jab on the brakes helps load up the front. We have copious amounts of power available to us, but we have to manage how we get it to the tarmac with the throttle, which can be rather tedious at times. The power delivery is not extremely aggressive, but it can break loose if we are heavy-handed with our inputs. The brakes are good for the application, however, it is difficult to turn under braking. So try and get all braking done in a straight line or ease off as we make our way through the turn. Let's collect our time. 6 minutes, 28.8 seconds. Moving on to the drift tune. We tried not to unbalance this vehicle too much with our drift tune, so we only made a few changes in the settings. Tires, body height adjustment, natural frequency, rear camber, and ballast were the only changes we made. Let's drift Suzuka. We really weren't expecting much drift-wise from this vehicle, but it has been a pleasant surprise. While this car is a tank, it slides quite well and even better than some of the more modern cars we try and drift. The handling is good, albeit still a bit spongy, but fortunately it does work in this Nova's favor. The steering does well, guiding this beast around the track. It is smooth and stable, though a touch lazy to respond to our inputs. We have plenty of power to initiate and maintain drift at almost any point in time. The power delivery is relatively smooth with little aggression. The downfall is that we can overdo the wheel speed if we venture too high into the RPM. That being said, it is easy enough to recover from and does not impact our drive drift feel too much. The CHC Chevy Nova is a fairly solid drift car with a bit of flair if we're after something a bit different out on the drift circuit. And that's all we have for you today, so until next time, keep racing!